Hello there. Welcome, everyone. It's a Thursday. Oh, hey, Brendan. Hello. How are you?
To explain something to you.
What's that?
Hello there. How's
Hey,
it going?
pretty good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome.
Uh,
Sorry, what you were saying something, and then I.
I was just saying, it's Thursday. I just finished school for the year, or the students that I work with finished school. I have to go in tomorrow.
Grades,
What's that?
grading stuff.
Well, so I actually work with. I'm kind of a teacher's aide, and
Gotcha.
I have a makeup day tomorrow, and so they've got some mandatory stuff like breakfast and meetings and stuff, and then there's some time to make up because I think there were some snow days that I could have gotten. I could have used my personal time, or I could have done a makeup day, and I just wanted to do the makeup. So
Gotcha.
won't have students tomorrow, but I still have to work. But it's kind of nice. It's a nice day out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I found this YouTube channel, and what is it called? It's by, or it has like a bunch of stuff with Sam Whitworth in it.
Interesting.
And I don't know if it's his official one, but he has a bunch of shorts on it, and it's just him. Oh no, this probably is not him. No, this is a fan one. But he did a few. What are they called? Like Cameo? Do you know about Cameo?
Yeah.
When they have, don't they pay money and then have actors like basically do little video notes or letters to people?
Yeah, like a birthday greeting or like a get well soon type of deal.
It was something like that. Let's see, which one?
Interesting.
I don't know when this was, but somebody had him do one. Like, I guess it just archives all kinds of stuff with him for. And he was talking about his experience in Star Wars with like The Force Unleashed and all kinds of stuff like that. And like, he's a really, really big fan of, Star Wars.
Is.
Like,
he's a really passionate guy about it.
Yeah. And I kind of hope, like, it came up in my feed after, like, I've talked to some people about like a Force Unleashed 3 or something.
Yeah.
I feel like he would be a good guy to like reach out to.
Yeah.
To get that, because
absolutely,
I think he has good pull at. I don't know if he has much pull, but he's got a good reputation, is what I mean, at Lucas. And with Dave Filoni. Like, I mean, he outsmarted Dave Filoni on some of the Clone Wars things, which I think is funny. But
he also has video clips that you can find online of him explaining why he doesn't think Last Jedi works.
Yeah.
As a film, which, as an EU fan who doesn't like Disney canon, was nice to see.
Yes, it was. Which, The Last Jedi, I haven't rewatched the film yet, but in kind of hindsight, I guess it almost feels like it's maybe one of the best of those three in a writing standpoint.
Interesting.
But with what they were writing about is where I had the problem with. Like the Luke storyline, I really liked it, but not for Luke. And I feel like a lot of people kind of agree with that.
It's, failure is a part of life, right?
Yeah.
And it works for other characters. But when it's the hero of your saga, the character that a generation of young boys and girls grew up like idolizing, I think you have a problem.
Yeah.
Especially when his success is arguably the fulfillment of the prophecy. Yoda tells him that he's gonna create more Jedi.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan does as well. That's the whole point. And then you take that away, and it's a failure, and none of it worked out. It's a good story. It's a good story, and it's a part of life, and it's a valuable lesson. But at the same time, when you do it with the main character of the saga, who millions of people have, idolized, you're gonna make a lot of people angry, which is what they found out after the movie came out, I think.
Yeah. I think if we had gotten like so much backstory to it, I feel like if they eased it into that,
yeah,
I think it would have been done better. Like I haven't read up to Crucible yet, but from what I've heard that happens to Luke, it would make sense that he would kind of like take a step back from everything. Maybe not renounce the Force, but just a little bit back, which I heard that he does politically. Am I?
Yeah. Fate of the Jedi, he pulls the Jedi back out of Coruscant.
Yeah.
Because of lots of crazy crap goes down there. It's like, have you read or watched any of the X-Men movies?
Yes. I really like the X-Men movies. Those are good.
I like the X-Men movies as well. While I admit that they could be better, there's a like nostalgia factor for it for me.
For sure.
Where I just absolutely like them all.
Yeah.
Even though some of them are pretty bad. Like, from a filmmaking standpoint or a story standpoint, I still love them anyways.
Oh, yeah.
They're just too cool. But, like, you know how the government, like, persecutes the mutants?
Yeah.
In the like, prequel films? I think it's, is it Days of Future Past and Apocalypse? We get a lot of that, I think.
Well, they had a bit of it in the original trilogy.
Yeah, they did. You're right.
And but I feel like Days of Future Past, which is probably one of my favorite ones of the main X-Men team up movies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of action to it. Where with like X2, they're subtle about it, they're slow about it.
Yeah.
It's I mean, it is an action film, but like the government is not
actively
hunting them like Days of
hunting them.
Past, which I would love to have the dystopian future, like a whole movie based in that. Like that would have been
amazing. Absolutely. So cool. The scenes with the future where they're like sending them back in time to keep going, and Bishop's there, and Warpath and Blink, and such good scenes, right? And bringing back the original cast or some of them for it. It was just lovely. I'm a big Star Trek fan, so I love Patrick Stewart. But anyways, the mutants being persecuted by the government, they started to do that storyline in Fate of the Jedi.
Oh.
So the government becomes wary of people who have the Force. They become wary of the Jedi. The government starts to mistrust the Jedi. And mainly it's because I'm going to try to be vague and not spoil too much, but there's a certain supernatural entity that's the villain of Fate of the Jedi, and that character gets in the head of lots of the young Jedi. And then starts driving them crazy.
Really?
So then they start doing crazy stuff, going wild, talking about conspiracies, saying that everyone's been replaced with clones, going out of their mind. And so this shows that there could be some insanity to the Jedi. So then the government is like, what is going on with the Jedi right now? So they start arresting them and freezing them in carbonite, which Luke doesn't like. Because these are his young Jedi. These are like, some of them are teenagers, some of them are really young. And now they're getting frozen in carbonite to stop them from hurting the public or going insane or snapping like a bunch of them are. And then the Jedi are all worried. Like there's bits where you're in the Jedi temple and there's a bunch of Jedi and they're like, who's next? And they're like really scared that they're going to be the one to go crazy next. So it's very interesting. but then the government starts to kind of persecute the Jedi, similar to how the mutants are persecuted in the X-Men films. That's why I started talking about the X-Men films to relate that. And anyway, all that to say, Luke doesn't like this.
Yeah.
Because obviously. And so he's like, I don't trust this government anymore. I'm taking my Jedi and we're going back to Ossus or to Yavin. Or I think they go to Endor first. And then maybe they stop at Yavin. And then eventually by the Legacy comics, they're back on Ossus.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a very interesting story. And Luke does take like a step back. He would have been like resigning from Grand Master towards sort of the Jedi and like really stepping down and letting someone else come to the forefront. We know that would have been part of the story there. I think it was going to be Jaina was going to take over the Jedi Order for a little while.
Yeah.
But then she goes Imperial Knights with Jagged. Yeah. And so Ben Skywalker would have then stepped up. So it's an interesting story that gets Luke so frustrated with how everything's gone down. But we got to see him be a hero and we got to see him succeed first, which is why I think the story works better in the EU. But again, I'm biased because, well, I love the EU.
Yeah. Did you ever hear, I don't know if this was a rumor or a truth, but I heard that they were like George Lucas wanted to have the villain for his sequel trilogy to be Luke's son. I heard that somewhere. And it would be a instead of a son turning his father back to grace, it would be a son turning his a father turning his son back to grace.
Yeah,
that's something I heard. I don't know. I don't have a source for that, but that was something I heard, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
Yeah,
and we got it was very close to the sequels, but you know, they made it a Han's kid. Named him Ben, of course, but
yeah. Pico's in the chat. He says, "Good
hello.
afternoon, gents."
But
that's very interesting. I've not heard that one. I've heard a lot of stuff about, you know, George's sequels, right?
Yeah.
There's lots of rumors about it. I know that there's like some scripts and stuff. I've not read those. I've seen all the concept art, but I feel like there's a lot of truths and not truths about it.
Yeah.
Like I hear lots of crazy things about it. Like, well, we know Darth Talon would have been involved based on the concept art.
Yeah.
We had new characters who were shown in concept art, but they looked exactly like Jason and Jada. So that was weird. And so to me, I'm thinking, well, are these actually Jason and Jaina, but they're like calling them something different for the concept art to keep it like a secret? Right. Is this like a Marvel Cinematic Universe? Like Marvel Cinematic Universe, their concept art, they sometimes won't name the characters that they've got art for as the same character to keep it a surprise.
Yeah.
Same with when they put out a casting call. They'll put out a casting call and change the character's name to keep it under wraps. So I was wondering if it was something like that. Then there's the whole thing of, did George really want to do the sequels? Like there's the interview where he says there is no 7, 8, 9.
Right.
And so it's like, did he really? And then there's a lot of people who think it's like Dave Filoni and the people at Lucasfilm who wanted more money saying, hey, when are we doing more movies? There's more money to be made. And then that kind of forced him to be like, fine. Let's do more, because he didn't seem too enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, some of the concept art was interesting. We saw like the supernatural entity. So my mind went, is that Abeloth?
Ooh.
Like what's going on here? There's a lot of interesting things based on the concept art, but you know, what do you think of what the sequel trilogy would have been? Because a lot of people think it would have contradicted the EU. I don't think that's necessarily true. Scripts change. It's its first draft. It could change drastically. The concept art literally has Darth Talon from the EU.
Right.
So like why go out of your way for that, you know? So I was just, it's a confusing scenario. What are your thoughts on it?
I think that it would ignore more than contradict.
Yeah.
there would be continuity errors,
Perhaps,
similar
yeah.
to how even the prequels to the original trilogy had some inconsistencies that they, of course, fixed,
Yeah.
or retconned. But I think that it would have been probably some of a best of, like he'd read things and he'd go, "Oh, I want that in my movie." Kind of like how the Clone Wars was.
Yeah.
You'd probably have something that would cause some problems, but not that bad.
Yeah.
Because like
Something like Quinlan Voss showing up in the Clone Wars show,
right,
or nods to the multimedia project here and there,
right,
but then stuff that's not consistent with it.
and I would almost see it kind of like the Clone Wars. I think I saw like there was a podcast. I think it was by Barb's Basement and Mandalore, and they had talked about Star Wars Underworld.
Oh yeah.
And so I kind of, if George got everything he wanted, I think we would obviously be in a different type of, I guess, like Star Wars community. I think the EU would still be around. It would just be retconned, kind of like how the Clone Wars was, because the tie-in books to the Clone Wars retcons things, and kind of shuffles them in a little bit. Like I was reading, it was an Ayla Secura digest Clone Wars tie-in, and it referenced
Deadly Hands of the Shan Ju. Yeah.
Yes. And it references like the Republic comics, and then it also references the Clone Wars, because Yoda just starts spitting out references, because it was right after that one arc whenever they meet those pacifists, like the monkey.
The Lurmans.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I could see it kind of like that, except like the expanded universe would adapt. We probably would maybe have a few different things that would be decanonized, but they wouldn't straight up say it because they still want you to buy the books.
Oh yeah. If Lucas had stayed in control, I'm adamant that even if the EU is no longer canon, at the very least it would have continued. Yes. And to most of us, it's more important that it continued rather than if it's canon or not.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like if it continued today, we'd be happy,
Yeah.
More like Legends banner books, like new comics with the Legends banner, it would be great.
Yeah.
And I definitely think they would have continued because it was a moneymaker. And George contributed to the EU,
He did.
And I don't see why he'd not want it around anymore. He pulls so much from it.
I mean, they're basically it's a free like brainstorm vault.
Yeah. It's like a bunch of ideas conveniently just over here that all these people created, and George could pluck what he wants.
He had the encyclopedias. He had the atlases.
Oh yeah.
They're basically building his world even bigger that he can play around in.
He read the Republic comics. We know that because he literally messaged Dark Horse and said, "Don't kill Quinlan Voss," which was John Ostrander's original idea. The theory is he wanted to use him in the Underworld show.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Been very interesting. Yeah. Which
my concern would be: would it be comic book Quinlan? Would it be TCW
Surfer Bro Quinlan?
Surfer Bro Quinlan. I haven't rewatched those episodes since I think they came out, or maybe I've only seen them twice. But eventually I'll get there.
Have you read Lone Wolf: A Tale of Obi-Wan and Luke?
I have not.
It's by Abel G. Pena, and it ties into TCW, but also the Clone Wars multimedia project. Yeah. So, like you were saying earlier, with like Deadly Hands of the Shan Ju, and there was also a couple others like that, like Wild Space, the novel, and No Prisoners, the novel, feature Callista, from Children of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But also tie into TCW.
Yeah.
There's a lot of media like that, but specifically Lone Wolf mentions Quinlan Voss. And Obi-Wan mentions how his brain got all frazzled up by being a secret agent. And I thought that was Abel G. Pena trying to give an explanation for why Quinlan was so weird in TCW. And he was like, his brain was all frazzled from all the betrayals. And then he also mentioned that Quinlan Voss gave General Grievous a goofy nickname during the Clone Wars. So like it was clearly tying into TCW, but also acknowledging the Republic comics. So it's in that weird space where it like referenced both. Leland Chi said he would have tried to make TCW work with the multimedia project. He made a tweet where he was like, "Calm down, everybody. Once the show ends, I'll fix everything," is basically what he said. So I have hope.
I remember hearing that.
Yeah. It's just a shame that the EU is discontinued and Leland Chi never got to give his answer.
Yeah.
Would have been very interesting.
Which they kind of did that with, was it Forces of Destiny? They had the little excerpt where it talks about everything in the Clone Wars is uncertain, propaganda maybe, which I like to take that to justify a lot of other continuity errors besides like just the Clone Wars stuff. Like there's some the micro series continuity
with Labyrinth of Evil. Oh,
what is happening to my computer?
I hear you now.
Okay, cool.
You dropped out for a minute.
Sorry, I've got
Were you saying that like how the micro series contradicted like Labyrinth of Evil?
Yeah, because didn't it contradict it just a little bit? I hadn't read it yet.
Yeah, just a little bit. Actually, there's a comic that almost makes it work, but not quite.
Okay.
Have you heard of the webcomic Evasive Action?
Evasive Action. What?
It was by Pablo Hidalgo, and it was released online only. They were black and white comic strips released every week, leading up to the release of Revenge of the Sith, and they even went beyond that into like the period of the Great Jedi Purge. They featured Black Sun, Prince Xizor. There was a lot of good stuff in there, but they covered the Battle of Coruscant and Palpatine's abduction.
Okay.
And they kind of tried to make it work by saying that there were multiple Jedi teams in multiple places.
Yeah.
To explain why we only saw one Jedi team in the Clone Wars 2003 show, the micro series, and why we saw like more Jedi in Labyrinth of Evil.
Yeah.
So it sort of tries to make it work by saying that there was multiple teams, and it covers a third team that we never saw, consisting of a Padawan, who is the Padawan of Roran Korab, who is the Ithorian Hammerhead from the show, who like breathed super loud and tried to blow General Grievous off his feet. It was his Padawan, and so he's part of like this third Jedi team. So it doesn't fully work, but it made an effort, which I appreciated. Dark Horse was actually originally going to color those in and release them as issues. That was a plan, which it's such a shame we never got that.
Nice. I posted a review of the lightsaber guidebook.
Yeah, I saw it.
It had a picture of what did you say his name was? The Hammerhead.
Roran Korab.
Yeah. And whenever I was going through it, I was like, wait a minute, that's him. And then I started putting all the pieces together because I got it before I was a like hardcore EU fan.
Yeah.
And I just saw it at a yard sale and it was like 50 cents or something. And I was like, hey,
ooh, nice.
Cool. And it also had the digest sized Kit Fisto TCW tie-in
Servants of the Republic.
Yes, which that used to be like single issue releases, right?
Yeah, well, the first 3 series I think were issue releases first.
Yes.
And the Kit Fisto one was free comic book day one, I think.
Yes, it had the Commander Cody one in the back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which I think I have a physical copy of, like a single issue one, and then that one as well. Because I think you had mentioned it in one of your streams about Matt Wilkins looking for it. And I was like, oh, I actually have this book right next to me. So, but what was I saying? Oh, I had just found it in a box of like old toys of someone. And there was like a Darth Maul lightsaber too, which I picked up, and I was like, oh, hey, this is neat. And then I went through it after you had reviewed the character encyclopedia.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder if this has that stuff, because I had it on the shelf close to that.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, it does. So, yeah.
Yeah, I really liked your video. It encouraged me to go out to look for it. I have it in my eBay cart now.
Yeah.
But sadly not 50 cents. It's like $6.50.
Yeah. Yeah.
But still not bad. But I definitely want to get that now. Especially Roaring Karab in there. That's very very good stuff, you know.
It had Adigalia, Shakti, and what's his name? I have to grab it now. I think he fought him in what was it? A few months before episode 3, because this is for the release of episode 3.
Gotcha.
I remember I filmed the whole video and I was about to post it, and I was like, wait, I forgot the General Grievous part. Pablo Gil,
yeah, from Attack of the Clones.
Yes.
I think he was killed in Labyrinth of Evil, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was in the city over Juro.
Yeah.
Because it has the backstory of each lightsaber.
Nice.
Which, does it line up?
Does it have what's the Jedi's name? There's one Jedi who I really liked his lightsaber.
Yeah.
And he was from Revenge of the Sith. I can't remember his name.
Was it one of the arrest for the Palpatine's arrest?
No, let me find. I know it's in the complete encyclopedia somewhere. Just a sec. There's like a picture of a bunch of people's lightsabers. I think it's in there. It begins with an M, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, I've got that one too.
Oh, this one?
Yes.
It's genuinely
not that one. Not that one.
Oh, okay.
I thought you meant the character encyclopedia.
Gotcha. This one genuinely like hurts to lift up.
That's it. It looks painful.
Yeah. I'm struggling right now.
Oh. The funny thing is about the General Grievous page on here is it has a picture of him like fighting Obi-Wan. And you can see that they just took the CGI model of Anakin's lightsaber and Obi-Wan's lightsaber, and they just put it in there. But in the fold out, it has the Jedi that he killed from the EU, so it was very purposeful, and I like that because we've got plenty of other ones.
All right, here's the page I was thinking of. That's got all these lightsaber hilts in it.
Yeah.
And this is where I first saw it. The Jedi's name is Melik Galera.
Wait,
I wondered if that was in there.
Melik.
Let me look him up so you can see a picture real quick. He was like a background extra in Revenge of the Sith. And since his lightsaber hilt I thought was really cool, I didn't know if he was like in the lightsaber book or not. This is what he looks like.
Oh. No, he is not in this. I think it is. So this book has the prominent lightsaber duels. Okay.
Gotcha.
And so anyone that was in like a big lightsaber duel or
Right. Yeah.
because let's see. Okay, this was 2010. So they could have had some stuff, but I think like they have Eth Koth
Nice.
and then a few
Ethkoth's a really interesting one because the tie-in visual dictionary to Attack of the Clones said he died
Yes.
in the gunship explosion.
Yeah.
With Pterodolph's gone and Sora Bulk.
Yeah.
But then it's funny because the EU contradicted that because they brought Sora Bulk back.
Oh yeah.
But then Filoni contradicted that as well because he brought Eth Koth back. But unlike Sora Bulk, we never got to know what happened to Eth Koth.
Yeah. It's like I don't know. I kind of wish Grievous had killed like Eth Koth.
Yeah.
Because then it would
up Grievous's Jedi body count.
Yeah. Like if you're gonna bring him back, which I didn't notice as a kid, I was like, oh, it's that one guy, and I thought Eth Koth and Egan Kolar were the same.
I did too.
And then I was like, wait a minute, they're not. And I think it was the actor wouldn't come back, or the extra wouldn't come back, and he was just like new character for Sith.
Well, was Eth Koth even in Attack of the Clones? I think he was only in Phantom.
Oh, you're right.
And just the visual dictionary explained, yeah, because I think he wouldn't come back for Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
so they got Agent Kolar.
Yeah,
was in the Jedi battle ring. So I think maybe the person who did the visual dictionary was like, hold up, the guy from Phantom Menace is not this guy, so better say he died in the explosion.
Yeah,
like he was there all along, type of thing. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know.
Maybe, but yeah, I heard that people complained about Eth Koth being alive, and I think I saw a video about it, and someone went, "Well, in the comics, Sora Bulk survived, so
yeah,
why are you crying?" Like that was a good storyline. What they had with him, with Mace Windu, and I think the first appearance of Ventress.
In Jedi Mace Windu, I think you're right, because she appeared there before she even appeared in
Clone Wars?
in the Republic comics.
Oh yeah, which is it's kind of neat.
Yeah, the Jedi Mace Windu comic is now worth a lot of money because of that.
Is it?
It's the first appearance of Ventress, just the original issue.
I know that Heir to the Empire #1 is really high in value, which I have, and I'm like,
nice. The coolest comic I have, I put it up there. I think I'll grab it, but I'll turn my camera off first. Where did I put it? What on earth? Did I put it back? Wait, is that it? Wait a minute. I'm confusing myself now. My stuff isn't where I thought it was. Would you say that Heir to the Empire is the most rare #1 comic issue that you have?
It depends on the grade, which I haven't had them graded yet.
Gotcha.
Do you know how much the Mace Windu one is?
I heard someone say it was like 150, which is pretty good.
Then yes. I've seen like near to brand new condition Heir to the Empire going maybe close to 1,000.
Wow.
I that might have been someone just trying to boost up the market.
Yeah, gotcha.
That's what they like to do.
Oh yeah.
But I saw that and I was like, "What the heck is this?" It was like first appearance of Thrawn, because Thrawn's real big in the new canon now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I checked my different Thrawn things, and like that's kind of the only thing that's really, really up there. I have some of the other issues, which they're up in value too. But really, the comic books that are going up. I have an action figure of Thrawn from Kenner when they were still doing it. They did the expanded universe.
Oh yeah, nice.
With like it had a little 3D model. Like
yeah.
For the back. And
I remember those.
That's honestly not that bad in price. I think it's like $12, and I'm like, okay.
That's pretty good, yeah. I'm sorry, man. I'm looking for what I wanted to show you, but I can't find it anywhere. Oh my goodness. It was right there. It was right beside me the whole time.
Oh, man.
This is a variant cover of Invasion, one of the Invasion comics.
Oh.
I don't know how much it's worth, but it's one of only 1,000 copies.
Really?
It doesn't look that different from the original cover. I think it had the mother and the daughter on the original cover as well. But it's part of what was called Dark Horse 100 Special Edition.
Huh.
And it even says in the corner, instead of a price, it says Dark Horse 100 Special up there.
Nice.
The only thing difference to cover art, the story is exactly the same. It's just a variant cover. There's only 999 other ones, so I'm not sure how valuable it is, but I found it in a comic shop. One of the little like comic shops where you walk in and it smells bad, but like that's a good thing. You know what I mean? It's like musty and like there's like yellowed books just in stacks on shelves and like rows of comic boxes, and it's so disorganized.
Yes.
Like it's a beautiful mess.
Oh, yes.
I love those places. And I was in there and I was like, do you have any Star Wars comics? And he was like, they're right there at the front. And I was like, no. Do you have any old Star Wars comics? I don't like the new Marvel stuff. And he's like, oh, Dark Horse, huh? And I was like, yeah. And he said, I actually got a box of Dark Horse comics from an old supplier a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
And it was like just a lot of old issues that they had lying around.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting almost the full Knight Errant series in single issues, almost all of Invasion in single issues, all of River of Chaos, which was an old Dark Horse series. And there was one other series. I got quite a few Rebellion issues as well. And I was like, how much for everything for each in here? And he was like, we'll say it's $1.50 per issue, which was pretty great, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so then I hold this one up afterwards, and I say, is this one that much as well? And he looked at it, and he's like, well, I didn't know that was in there. And he was like looking it up and down, and I could tell that he thought he made a mistake, but he was like, sure, it's still $1.50.
What is it called? Star Wars Invasion.
Dark Horse 100 Special Edition. It's Invasion Rescues #1. I looked for it online, like on eBay and stuff like that, and I never saw it. So it made me think maybe it's valuable, maybe it's not. How do we know the company only printed 1,000 copies? Maybe they did like 3,000 and just wanted us to pick up an extra copy. But I thought it was cool. But I never saw one on eBay. I looked like 2 years. I got that before COVID. I got that in 2019.
What?
That was 4 years ago.
And did you have it graded?
I didn't have it graded. No, I've never done comic grading, but it looks to be pretty nice. The corner, there's no like creasing. I did read it, which maybe I shouldn't have, but the pages are all crisp. There's no like tears at the corners.
Yeah.
There's no like damage, and then the spine doesn't.
I'll be right back. Either. I'll be right back. 1 second.
It does have a little wear up there though on the top.
Sorry, I'm back. I lost track of time. So you might want to get that graded.
Yeah.
Because I found it on eBay. Is it the 1 in 100?
1 in 1,000. Yeah.
What number do you have?
Doesn't say. Maybe it would say on the inside.
On the top of this one, it says Dark Horse 100 Special Edition. I don't know if that says it for you.
Yeah.
Because I found it on eBay for about $800. Yeah.
Wow.
Then that's
pretty good.
That's the best quality one. That's 9.8. And
9.8. Okay, gotcha. This one's probably more like a 7, if I had to guess.
Which, yeah, you could.
How much is it to grade it? Don't you have to send it away and like pay like $20 or something?
Let's see.
I don't remember exactly, but it's something like that.
Comic grading.
Yeah, I just looked it up. 800. That's crazy. That's way more than I was expecting. I thought this might be worth like $100, maybe.
Yeah.
There's another one on eBay that's not graded for $225.
Yeah.
Ooh, and it's signed. That's cool.
Yeah, I saw it. It had Tom Taylor signed it. Which he's
nice.
He's an interesting writer with some of his stuff.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yes. Let's see. So present, it's about $25 to have it graded.
Okay.
And present is from the 70s forward.
I found 2 other listings for $300 and $495.
Yeah.
So there's like 7 on eBay right now.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
Very nice.
That leaves like 980 others, something, or 900, 992 others.
Oh, hey, Alex.
Something like that.
Alex is in the chat.
Nice.
But
you were discussing Dark Nest and Legacy again on Noah's server, being Sole Defender again. I'm sorry, Alex. I need to reread it before I can start with some quality defense. It's been years since I've read Denning's books at this point. I just love them, though. They're some of my favorites.
I'll have to. I'm still in New Jedi Order. I'm trying to finish up the comics and also the X-Wing series. I got sucked back into the Bantha era, and I'm like, But anyway, I'm actually gonna have to go. But thank you for being on here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you have a good evening, and we'll have to do this again. I might have some free time tomorrow. I've just kind of been knocking it out with live streams,
Yeah, you've had a bunch.
Yeah.
Were you on with Marcel yesterday, or was that 2 days ago?
That was, I think it was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't remember. They all kind of blur together. It's been the last week of school. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you all for watching. And that.